Bottom line is, man, it's hard to break us now. It's hard to break us. As a matter of fact, you ain't going to do it.
Open look going as he hits it. What a play called by Tom Izzo in that timeout.
I was 7 years old watching a football game by myself, and I saw those winged helmets come out of the tunnel, and I was hooked at that point.
Kane in Chicago! Oh my God! Kane with the overtime winner!
Jahmyr Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6'6" Kane Jameson Williams, he's got it! Touchdown, Lions! Now it's Larkin with a burst of speed. He scores! Gives the United States the lead for the first time tonight.
Hey, speaking of the United States, they are in to the quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic. What's going on, everybody? Welcome on a Tullamore Tuesday, or Thursday, rather. We are X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. We're brought to you this hour by our friend Mitch Lyons and Mitch Lyons Wealth. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Bally has done a yeoman's job holding down the fort over the last few days. He's done a great job, so we're glad he's with us. The Meyer hotline for you, 866-838-4843, or you can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. You can always get involved in the chat as well. That chat includes you on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. All right, follow us at XB Mornings. Lions restructure Jared Goff's contract that allows him to clear $32 million in cap space, which is massive for this team. And it's great that Brad Holmes decides to do that and Jared Goff's willing to do that. Plenty of players do it all the time. Patrick Mahomes has done it. Matthew Stafford did it in Detroit. You could do more, and we'll get into that coming up as well. It's what the general manager then does with the newfound $32 million. How is he going to spend that? How will he help this team? If you're helping this team by just extending Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, it's not what Lions fans are looking for. And I'm not suggesting that Brad Holmes change his method of operandi to simply make the fans happy. But this team has a lot of needs. You and I both know that, right? I mean, you've got 8. I want you to think about it for a second. You've got Aiden Hutchinson at one defensive end. Who's the other one? Who's the third one?
Well, it's not Al-Qadim Muhammad right now.
Who's the fourth one? In other words, you have one.
There's no depth.
Okay. You have Tyleik Williams and you have Aleem McNeil at defensive tackle. Who's the third one? Because Roy Lopez is gone. Who's the fourth one? You have Jack Campbell at linebacker, and you have Malcolm Rodriguez as your third. Derek Barnes is in there somewhere, whether it's a linebacker or edge rusher. I think it's more of a linebacker. Are you going to continue to play 4-3 defense? I mean, because they did that more than anybody else last year. You're in lack of – what about your safeties? Brian Branch will not start the season. Kirby Joseph, you're unsure. Where are the safeties? Your cornerbacks are DJ Reed. You hope Terrion Arnold, Rock Yassin, and Enos Rakestraw with a question mark.
Could this finally be the year for Enos Rakestraw?
There are a number, and I mean a massive number, of question marks on that side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, the assumption is, and I think it's a fair one, that Penei Sewell is going to be your left tackle. Your left guard is going to be either Miles Frazier or Christian Mahogany. Your center is going to be Cade Mays. Your right guard is going to be Tate Ratledge. Your right tackle is going to be question mark. And stop. Don't give me juice, okay? Those are swing tackles. We've got 2 swing tackles, we as in the Lions fan base. Swing tackles or extra linemen. Giovanni Manu is that guy, okay? Juice Scruggs is that guy. Borum is that guy. Those are 3 guys. That fills your in case I need him, not starters. That's not confidence when it comes to that stuff. A couple of running backs, that's great. You got your wide receivers, you're set. You got your quarterback, you don't have a quarterback too. Don't give me Teddy Bridgewater. If he's going to be a future coach there, I don't want him as my backup. There are other really good options. How much would it take to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo? You'd take him, wouldn't you? You'd take Tyrod Taylor over them, wouldn't you? Hell yeah. You'd take Russell Wilson over Teddy Bridgewater. There's a lot of guys out there that are still free agents who you'd rather have as your backup. Now, they may not want to play as a backup. Maybe Russell Wilson thinks he's a starter, which he's not. Maybe Tyrod Taylor thinks he's a starter, which he's probably not. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo thinks he's a starter. I doubt he is, but talk to those guys. Teddy Bridgewater? Maybe those other guys are too expensive. It shows you where this team is at. It's a deep concern. How are you going to spend the money? That's the big question. It can't be just, hey, Jahmyr Gibbs, before you hit that rookie contract being up, we want to make sure you're going to stay here long term. No thanks. Italy blows out Mexico 9-1 to win Pool B in the World Baseball Classic. Did not think that would be something I said when this whole thing started a couple of weeks ago. Vinny Pasquantino hit 3 homers. Aaron Nola tossed 5 scoreless innings. More importantly, the win pushes Team USA into the quarterfinals in Houston tomorrow against Canada. It's not going to have the same feel as Team USA against Canada in the Olympics. It's not going to be a gold medal game where you and I wake up early and go, man, I can't wait for this thing. It is going to be an absolute brawl. But at least Team USA is still playing. Now somebody needs to quickly find Mark DeRosa, the manager of Team USA, and tell him it's a one elimination game. If you lose, Mark, you're out. So please play like if you lose, you're out. Being that Mark DeRosa had no idea what was going on before that. He thought his team, before his team lost 8-6 to Italy, he literally thought, well, we're already in. No, you weren't. Pistons are going to host the Sixers tonight. Philly has dropped 3 in a row on the road. Detroit has won the first 2 meetings between the two teams. They were a conference best 31-10 against the East. If you were watching any of NBA action last night, and you saw the Knicks play the Jazz, or you saw the Cavs play the Magic, there are commentators. It's really been over the last couple of days. There are commentators who literally talk about the Eastern Conference like it's Cleveland, New York, and Boston. And they conveniently, maybe it's just assumed, but I hate to feel that way. I hate to think everything's just assumed. They conveniently forget the team that has more wins than anybody else in the conference, 46. They conveniently forget the team that leads Boston by 3.5, the Pistons. The team with the most wins in the conference, the team with the most wins on the road, and the team with the most wins at home.
Do you think it's because they had just lost 4 in a row and then commentators just write them off?
I really don't know, Trent. I'm not sure of that.
Because if that's the case, that's pretty sad.
It's confusing to me. I can't help but wonder if it's because they haven't won a playoff series. Boston's won a championship as of late. Knicks got to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Cavs won 64 games a year ago.
Yeah, those teams are just more familiar, you think?
I mean, that could be. I don't understand.
It's probably part of it.
I hate we overuse the word disrespect. But do you feel like there's a little bit of that right now? Totally agree, because you're exactly right, From a national standpoint, yeah.
When you listen to these national commentators and these broadcasts, the Pistons are out of sight, out of mind, and I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think a lot of it has to do with their style, and we'll get into that when we come back here on X's and Bros. Of course, we've got the Mitchell Lions poll question. Red Wings are going to visit the Lightning in Tampa tonight. Detroit resting 3 points back of the Lightning, second place standing in the division. They're winless in 6 of their last 10. There's a lot of panic. There's a lot of concern, and for good reason. We'll get into all that here on a Tullymore Thursday here on X's and Bros. Glad you're with us on the Michigan Sports Network.
You worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Avelo knows how much you love the Tigers. They love them too. They want to help you get to spring training in Lakeland because it is an awesome time. They fly nonstop from Grand Rapids to Lakeland Thursdays and Sundays, and nonstop from Detroit to Lakeland Wednesdays and Saturdays. Everyday low fares and reliable service. You don't want to fly anywhere else. Book your trip to Lakeland on AveloAir.com and use the promo code HUGE for $20 off a round-trip base fare when you book by March 31st. Restrictions do apply.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Really easy for us to, welcome back, by the way, really easy for us to look at suddenly they've saved $32 million of the Lions in Jared Goff's salary. What do you do with it? That's the big question. You can't just say, well, I want to extend others or I want to restructure others and then not have a plan. What are you going to do with the money? And I think, there's still a lot of free agent. You don't fix everything in free agency. I think we look at free agency and trade deadlines and the draft like it's Christmas and we've got to open up the present right away. So let's make sure that we're the first one down the stairs and we're the first one to start opening gifts. When it's hard to be patient, really difficult. Because you and I both recognize the amount of issues the Lions have with the talent or depth or both, really, to be honest with you. You and I both agree they need a defensive end. Who's the defensive end? Is it Joey Bosa? Probably cost about, I would guess, a one-year deal would be about $11 million, 10 or $11 million. It could be Cameron Jordan. I like Cam Jordan. I do. I mean, I know he's older, but I would remind people that he's an 8-time Pro Bowler, and he's still a disruptive player from the edge. He plays the run pretty damn well, and he earned what, if you believe in Pro Football Focus, he earned a really high run defensive grade. In other words, he's out there in more than just passing situations. And unlike Joey Bosa, Joey Bosa was not great against the run. In fact, he wasn't good at tackling in terms of the run, as far as Pro Football Focus is concerned. But one of those guys, I think, would make Lions fans feel really good. If you look at the secondary, there's people who out there, including yours truly, I would like to see them sign Jaquan Brisker. He's the former Chicago Bear. He's 26 years old. He can stabilize the back end. You're going to need some stabilization. Okay. I don't think he's going to be the equivalent of Kirby Joseph when healthy, but I think he's going to be a solid player. He's going to be a guy who you can probably trust on that back end. Now, maybe there are people who would rather have a corner. Okay. Rasul Douglas is a name that comes to mind. He's big. He's 6'2". He's 210 pounds. He's got 21 career interceptions, but he's 30 years old. Those guys don't, you don't think of elite corners right away when you think of Rasul Douglas. You don't have flashbacks to the great Ronnie Lott when you start talking about Jaquan Brisker. But they are players who can help your football team. They are not going to be perfect. They are probably not going to be considered as all pros or Pro Bowlers, but they are going to be steady players for an extended period of time, especially Brisker, because he's 26 years old. Cam Jordan might be a one-year plug and play guy. Joey Bosa might be a one-year plug and play guy. That's the situation you're in. A lot of teams are in that situation, to be honest with you. And you're going to have to deal with that. And that's okay. And if you think you're getting a guy like, some people would be thrilled to get a guy like Joey Bosa. But remember this, he's been injured quite a bit in his career. And then if it doesn't work out, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get people going, well, you brought in an injured player. When you play as long as some of these guys have played, find a guy with a clean bill of health. It's not easy. And I know you want to check off every single box when it comes to the various needs for this team. One of those boxes, I believe, would be tackle. Let's go get Rasheed Walker. He's 26. He's a left tackle, so you could keep Penei Sewell there. What do you think he's going to command? Now, it's a little surprising to me that he hasn't been signed yet, quite honestly. But not everything that the Lions can or should do is going to come via free agency. And that is our Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question. What should they do next after restructuring Jared Goff? Ink young players to extensions, sign a free agent right tackle, sign free agent defensive players, or restructure more players. You can vote as often as you want at XB Mornings on Twitter. We'll give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. I will retweet that as well. Ink young players to extensions. That is referring to guys like Jack Campbell and guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, somewhere along those lines. And speaking of tight ends, you need some tight ends because you only have basically Sam Laporta. Sign a free agent right tackle. I think that's where you go about the NFL draft. That's where you're going to go get your next tackle. I truly believe that. I think that if they drafted the guard out of Penn State, Ionye, I'd be okay with that. But you would have to find a right tackle as well. And this is what I mean about needs, okay? Like the kid from Penn State, you would plug at left guard and he would be there forever. You're hoping Tate Ratledge is going to be there forever. You knew when you drafted Penny Sewell, he was going to be there forever when stayed healthy. Those are really good issues. That's exactly what you build, how you build your offensive line. It's a beautiful thing. Cade Mays comes in, suddenly it becomes the strength of your football team. Seriously, if you did that, I would have no issue with it at all. Miles Frazier was a 5th-round draft pick. I liked him a lot at LSU. I think he made 52 starts. And the SEC, for a high-level program, that's really good. He was healthy when he was in Baton Rouge. He got hurt a year ago. If he's healthy, he's going to compete with Christian Mahogany at left guard. So if you chose to go tackle in the draft, that's fine too. Find the guy who's going to be your tackle and just going to stay there for his entire career. Give him a long-term deal, okay, or a long-term lifeline at that position, and you're set. You don't have to worry about it. Out of sight, out of mind now, because you know those guys are going to be really good. Those are the guys like the David DeCastros of the past, the Jeff Hardings of the past. I'm talking about 2 guards there. Those guys, you don't have to worry about that. Pittsburgh did that with Zach Frazier, 2nd round, West Virginia center. He's their center for the next 8 years, you would think. He's that good. And you're hoping that's exactly what Tate Ratledge is going to be. You're hoping the tackle you draft is going to do that too. Anyway, so those are some of the player extensions. Those are free agent right tackle, free agent defensive players. I just named a couple that I think would be good fits here and help your team, or restructure more players. I don't know what you're going to do with that. I know there's a love affair with that kind of stuff when it comes to Brad Holmes. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who would strongly disagree with me here. I would not do that with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's a really good player. I like that he's a Detroit Lion. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's a top 5, top 6 running back in the National Football League. And he's going to show it again this year because there's no David Montgomery to share those carries, if you will, okay? Instead, you got Isaiah Pacheco. But I am not extending him sooner than I need to. Jack Campbell, I might think differently. Jahmyr Gibbs, probably not, just because of running backs and the toll it takes. And I worry about that too much money on that side of the ball, to be honest with you. Our phone number, by the way, on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. What else could they do regarding restructuring? We'll get to that. Baltimore dealing with a bad look and a whole lot more here on X's and Bros as we get rolling on a Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan. Now, they continue to grow. They got their worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. They are worldwide. They are the leaders when it comes to accounting, CPA, and business needs. Simple and easy. Just Google Dorn Mayhew. And also, Josh Garvey joins me every Tuesday as we talk hoops with former Michigan and Cleveland Cavaliers head coach John Beilein. Tuesdays, 5 p.m., Josh Garvey, Coach Beilein, and myself, we talk Michigan, Michigan State, and the Pistons. Talking hoops happens all the way through the NBA Finals. And could you imagine if the Pistons are in the NBA Finals? If you ever have a hoops question for us, you can drop it at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook, and Talking Hoops every Tuesday at 5 p.m., presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Dorn Mayhew.
Ferris Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Thanks for listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. You want to talk to Shep? Call us at 866-838-4843.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. We're with you Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Valley is with us as well. As always, Freddie on cue. We love getting texts from our friend Freddie, the pizza man. Team waived or traded a left tackle, a center, and a running back, and went out and signed a center, backup left tackle, and mid-range running back. Well, the left tackle asked for his release, as you know. They haven't really signed, I would consider, a left tackle for it. I think they brought in guys like the equivalent to Dan Skipper, okay? Depth pieces that allows you to compete for snaps during the season. So I wouldn't say they have that yet. I think they're going to draft a tackle in the first or second round, and that's going to be your right tackle. And I think they're going to move Penei Sewell to left tackle, which is fine by me. A center, you didn't want the last center before anyway, nor would I, okay, with all due respect to Graham Glasgow. So you had to go sign a center. You knew that anyway, right? You knew you were going to have to sign a center. Okay, good. All right. And as far as the running back is concerned, he wanted out. You traded him. You got some good value for him. Everybody would tell you that. 4th-round pick and a guy who can help you with depth up front, because you lack depth up front from last year. I'm actually starting to feel a little bit better seeing where they go in the draft for an offensive lineman. I'm feeling a lot better about the offensive line. Cade Mays has helped me with that. Ratledge's play a year ago in total has helped me with that a little bit. I'm encouraged, or will be encouraged, I truly believe this, when Miles Frazier competes, because I think he's a good player. I'm not saying he's Kevin Zeitler, who, by the way, is a free agent. But I think he's going to be a guy who can help you. So I'm excited to see what they do at the right tackle position if they move Sewell to left tackle, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Isaiah Pacheco, he's a really good pass blocking running back. He's going to get you some tough yards. You're not going to ask him to do a lot. 8 carries a game, something like that. I'm fine with that. I think a lot of this, Freddie, has a lot to do with what were you expecting them to do from last year. You know, every team is not going to be the same as they were a year ago. Okay. Who did you expect to lose from the Lions this past year? You knew Alex Anzalone was going to be gone, right? They didn't extend him. You knew that was going to happen. He wanted a longer-term deal. You weren't willing to do that. Okay. You had a pretty good feeling, I would guess, that Graham Glasgow was not going to be back. Okay, so that's fine. You had a pretty good guess that some of their secondary pieces were replaceable. Are you really crying over the loss of Amik Robertson? I mean, I'm not. Would I have liked to have him back? Okay, yeah. He's a depth guy. I want starters. I want guys who are actually going to go out there and be impactful players. And then as far as David Montgomery is concerned, you knew this is a guy at age 29 who wanted more carries. They weren't there for this team. So I have no issue with what they've done so far in terms of what they've lost. My question is, how are they going to build up their depth?
All the losses have made sense to me. Like none of them have surprised me yet, including David Montgomery.
Yeah, they shouldn't be surprising. There's not one guy that's taken you by, except for maybe Taylor Decker's decision to say, I want to go someplace else. Release me so I can go someplace else.
That's true.
That's the only one that might be taking people a little bit by surprise. But you know what? Let's be honest here. You thought he had maybe one good year left. And you were surprised that he was going to come back for his 11th year anyway. Most people thought he was done. So suddenly he comes back, but he wants a longer-term deal. And in order to get that, he feels like, okay, you release me. I don't know many teams that are going to do that.
No, and if we're talking about restructuring Goff's deal and stuff to save money, saving the $11.5 million with Taylor Decker out the door.
What's he going to get on the free agent market?
Yeah, not
20. Maybe.
Probably. He was going to make 21.5 with the Lions.
Right. So he's going to make – he probably wouldn't sign anything for less than 20 unless it's a multi-year deal.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You probably don't want him on a multi-year deal anyway. So, I mean, if you look at it from that standpoint, you should feel like nothing really has surprised me that much. You know you're going to have to replace those players once you lose them. It's who you replace them with. Cade Mays is an upgrade. Pacheco gets hurt probably. David Montgomery was hurt. 2 of the 3 years he was here, he was hurt. Okay? But you liked him because he said a lot of really nice things about your city, about your fan base, about your organization on Facebook and Twitter and all this other stuff. Okay? So sorry that you're going to miss him a little bit. If you'd like to have him back, I guess I understand that. I thought he was a replaceable player with his role with the Lions. And as far as Alex Anzalone goes, there's a lot of people who are complaining about him. In fact, last year in training camp, when he was upset that he didn't have more of a contract from this team and wanted to get paid more, there were a lot of people bitching about that. Shep, Philadelphia has 2 great cornerbacks. Yep, they drafted Quinyon Mitchell in the first round, Cooper DeJean in the second round. Went out and signed another really good cornerback. Meanwhile, we don't have one we can count on. I agree with that. I mean, DJ Reed, let's be honest. When they signed DJ Reed, most people, maybe not you, but most people were fired up over that. Most people thought that's a really good signing.
That was maybe the most disappointing.
Corners. You got a one guy who's going to be really good, and some say he was as good as Sauce Gardner the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're hoping Terrion Arnold evolves into a 1. Arnold gets hurt and hasn't been as good. Reed had a very disappointing season. Perfect storm, awful stuff. Happens, right? This is what happens sometimes in free agency. You ink a guy and he's not as good as you thought he was going to be. Hi, Russell Wilson. This is what happens sometimes. I don't like it. You don't like it.
You got to be ready for it.
But you got to be ready for it. And the Lions, to the texter's credit, the Lions are not ready for it. At least as of right now, from what we've seen, where is their cornerback depth? Don't give me Rock Ya-Sin. Don't give me Enos Rakestraw. And don't give me Terrion Arnold. The Lions would counter our argument with this. Going into the season, you'll have DJ Reed at one corner. You'll have Terrion Arnold at the other. You'll have Rock Ya-Sin, and we will fill in the gaps as we go forward, whether it be through the draft or still some free agents out there. It's not ideal. I don't disagree with you. Philadelphia won about that the right way to a certain extent, okay? But I would remind you, they've lost some players too. Via text, Brad Holmes is morphing into past GMs in this town. The cynical side says he waited to announce the restructure till yesterday, so he allows many media and many critical fans to embarrass themselves first. Then he swoops in as the smartest guy in the room. Just my take. That's a big reach. That is deep disdain for Brad Holmes that he would go that far. I doubt that's the case. Wait, everybody, I know, I truly don't believe the texter believes this, but Brad Holmes is sitting back going, we're going to wait and restructure. Why do you want to wait, Brad? We're going to have everybody freak out for a little bit. Let's wait till they freak out. When they're done freaking out, here's what we're going to do. We're going to announce it. That hurts your team. It hurts you, and it hurts your future. It hurts your reputation, so I don't think so. Shep, if they don't make the playoffs, Brad needs to be fired, Goff needs to go, and they won't have a good quarterback groomed and ready. Well, I will say this. From the quarterback standpoint, and I don't know how you feel about the free agent quarterbacks, but from the quarterback standpoint, I see what you're talking about. Teddy Bridgewater to me I think it's a joke.
Do you think it's a step up from Kyle Allen?
I honestly don't.
Because I do, but I'm with you in that it's still, I don't feel good about the backup quarterback situation. You know, I didn't feel good about it with Kyle Allen either.
In this town since I don't know when.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, if you look back, who's been the best backup quarterback this team has ever had?
Dan Orlovsky, probably.
Oh, no way.
2014.
You've had guys like Jim McMahon. You've had Dante Culpepper. You've had
John Kitna.
Drew Stanton.
Sean Hill.
I mean, You've had guys like that, Dan Orlovsky, and it's not even close. And I like Dan Orlovsky.
Well, I think he's the last guy. I'm thinking most recent, because all those guys you mentioned were before that slightly. But I'm with you. I'm with you.
He's not the best they've recently had.
No,
he wasn't good at all. Sorry, he just wasn't.
And he never really was asked to play.
And I don't know. When you look at free agents, Kyler Murray's a free agent. Aaron Rodgers is a free agent. Kirk Cousins is a free agent. Russell Wilson's a free agent. Jimmy Garoppolo's a free agent. I thought Mitch Trubisky's a free agent. I got to look that up.
He is.
He is?
Yes.
I would take all those guys over Teddy Bridgewater.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo's the one that you should look at, because I think all those other guys, right or wrong, they still want to start. Whereas I think Jimmy Garoppolo's secure in his role as a backup.
Oh, I think he wants to start. I don't want anybody who doesn't want to start, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just from the standpoint of staying ready.
I want guys who want to, who want to compete and all that other stuff. Those guys aren't in that situation. What's the whole point? If you're backing up Matthew Stafford, that's one thing. If you're backing up Tua Tagovailoa, that's a completely different thing, right?
Yeah.
The question is, who would be okay with, quote unquote, backing up Jared Goff? I don't know.
And that's a good question. I just think of the guys you just named. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is the one that's most likely to be okay with that. Like Aaron Rodgers is not coming here to back up Jared Goff.
Absolutely not, but I wouldn't want him anyway. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
The Mitch Trubisky would be a little bit more enticing for me. I would rather have him than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
But either way,
we're
splitting hairs there. Okay. Either way, we're looking at guys who I think would be a Marcus Mariota. I wouldn't mind a guy like that as a backup quarterback. I would much rather have those guys than I would Teddy Bridgewater. I think it's a failed situation right now with a backup quarterback. And it shows you in 2 years how quickly things can change in the National Football League. A team that we all thought would be a division, conference, and perhaps Super Bowl contender for an extended period of time is now scrambling mightily, at least from a fan's perspective, scrambling mightily to try and get it right with just depth players, for crying out loud. On our feed, on the YouTube feed, let's see. Bab says, isn't restructuring Lions players' contracts going to hurt the team in the future? Yes, it is. Yes,
but that's the risk you take, It's a strategy thing.
Look, listen, this is why when you get the opportunity to draft a good young quarterback, people want it so badly, because it's the quarterback role more than any other that hurts teams long term, kicking that can down the road. The cap hit for Jared Goff is one thing. Okay, goes from, what was it, $50 million or whatever to 15 by restructuring. And now suddenly next year it's going to be at over 60 million. And the year after will be at over $60 million. When you get a young quarterback and they're under team control for the first 5 years, and you can use that to your advantage by filling in everywhere else. Look at what the Raiders are doing. Not that the Raiders are the blueprint by any stretch, but they know they're going to take Fernando Mendoza, right? And it's going to be a cap-friendly deal because he's a rookie. What have they done? They have helped him how? Offensive line, defense. With what they've done in free agency so far, that's how they have helped him. Everybody thinks that the quarterback, the way you help the quarterback is via wide receivers and running backs. No. You help a good young quarterback with a really strong offensive line and a really good defense. The defense will get you the ball back. The defense means you don't have to score as many points. The defense will oftentimes flip the field for you. Your offensive line means you will get protected, and it means you will have a balance to your offense. I can run the football a little bit. So it's a good situation for what they're trying to build for a young quarterback. The Lions have a veteran quarterback. And that's fine. And I like him too. Don't get me wrong. I like him. But the amount of money that it costs means that that player's window, notice I didn't say the team, the player's window is a certain period of time. And you've got to take advantage of it. Are you doing that? They had that chance a couple of years ago. We all believe that. Last year, they took their eye off the ball. No pun intended. Now they're regrouping with that. And are you going to be able to fill in all the other holes? If you can't, from a depth standpoint, you're in deep trouble in a lot of different ways, but also because you just don't have the quality of depth. At least with this team, by signing a couple of those offensive linemen, or trading for one, Juice Scruggs, signing for the other, Barham, what you get is you get that depth. You don't want to use them an entire season, but you may need them for a game or two. And if you can get by with that, then that's one thing. But it would be completely different if you had to start them an extended period of time. Personally, I wouldn't want to do that. Shep, welcome back. Trent did a great job without you. Being shorthanded must be difficult. You need a third person to fill in. Okay? I think Trent's going to be just fine. Whether or not he can pull both roles is the difference there, but that's something that
appreciate you, Bob.
Needs to be rectified without question. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. Our text line is Sports Radio 21,000. Again, you can always stay involved, and thank you again for that, Bob. Appreciate it. You can get involved via the stream however you want, and we'll make sure your thoughts are heard. Okay. We saw, I know Trent talked about this the other day. The Baltimore deal with Max Crosby has made this team, and perhaps what the league has had to endure a little bit. All right. So what a lot of people thought was going to happen is now happening. Baltimore squashes the deal with Max Crosby and now goes out and signs Trey Hendrickson. That's a bad look for the Ravens in more ways than one. We'll explain when we come back on X's and Bros. Glad you're with us on a Tullymore Thursday. This hour has been brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network. And don't forget the huge show later today at 3 p.m.
Hey, when you travel, you want low fares, you want reliable service, and you want a direct flight. Avelo Air gives you all of that and more. Avelo Air has direct flights to take Tigers fans to spring training in Lakeland. Avelo Air will take you from Grand Rapids to Lakeland directly on Thursdays and Sundays. They will take you directly from Detroit to Lakeland on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You literally land 20 minutes from the ballpark. You don't have to wait in lines. You don't have to worry about any of that other hassle. This is hassle-free travel like you deserve. Go to AveloAir.com and get $20 off a base fare round-trip flight to Lakeland when you book your trip by March 31st. All you have to do is use the code HUGE. That's HUGE on AveloAir.com. Restrictions do apply. See AveloAir.com for details today.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
Second hour of the program. Welcome back. X's and Bros Monday through Friday from 6 until 9. Top of the hour, we give you the update in case you missed anything from the night before. Lions restructured Jared Goff's contract, allows him to clear $32 million in cap space. They could do more. They could open up if they wanted to. If they wanted to restructure Ali McNeil, please, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell. They could open up an additional $50+ million, I read. 52 to be exact. Kicking that can down the road, I get it, but you're still have an opportunity to restructure some of those deals, and you're freeing up a ton of money.
It's a risk, but it absolutely helps you in the short term. And sometimes that's a risk you got to take.
Yeah. You would think. I don't know what their mindset is when it comes to that stuff. Is it a risk? What's the risk?
Well, the risk is you're strapping yourself later on, like you said, but it helps you tremendously in the here and now.
Be there, though.
Yeah.
Guys
so
you think are going to be there?
And maybe of the three guys you just mentioned, maybe Ali McNeil would be the one you don't want to restructure.
Because then you'd be able to get quote unquote rid of him sooner.
Yeah, he's the one you're least confident in. Would be here.
I would say St. Brown would be the most likely target. If you restructure his deal, he's going to be here a while. He's still a highly productive
that's
player.
fair.
If you're going to be here for a while, and quite honestly, if you look at the deals that Brad Holmes has made, the Goff one, I thought you overpaid for Goff. You could say the same for Kirby Joseph, since at the time it was the highest paid safety in league history. You could say the same for Amon-Ra St. Brown. At the time, it was the highest for a wide receiver. But as you look back at it now, those are not bad deals. I know you think that Joseph is because he's hurt. Nobody can predict that. Think of the Jameson Williams compared to Alec Pierce deal and how much better that is. Anyway, they do free up some cap space, and they got a chance to go out and do something about it. Team USA still has a say in the World Baseball Classic. They needed help from Italy. They needed an Italy win or a high-scoring game. They got both. It was a 9-1 final. Italy wins. Vinny Pasquantino, first baseman, Kansas City Royals, when healthy, really good, strong pop, had 3 home runs. Never hit 3 homers in a game. But he had it in the World Baseball Classic yesterday. And Aaron Nola, with Italian descent, was fantastic as well. So Team USA is going to play Canada in Houston tomorrow. Again, it's not going to have the same feel as USA, Canada in hockey in the gold medal game. But it is significant. Pistons will host the Sixers tonight. Red Wings visit the Lightning tonight. And here's our Mitch Lineswell poll question. What should the Lions do next after restructuring Jared Goff? Ink young players to extensions, sign a free agent right tackle, sign free agent defensive players, or restructure more players. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. We'll give you the results tomorrow in the final hour of our program. Freddie was kind enough to text in and say, Mitch Trubisky signed in Carolina. So I had missed that. That's why he's not a free agent. And a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo might be a better fit, but they've got Teddy Bridgewater as we move on. They're not, in fairness to Brad Holmes and the Lions. I try to look at everything from both sides of an argument here. They're not winning a division, a conference title, a Super Bowl. They're not doing anything if Jared Goff isn't their quarterback. Okay? Maybe a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. Whoever you're signing, Teddy Bridgewater is not leading that team, to a 12-5 record. Jared Goff gets hurt, just like any good quarterback. Any good first-string quarterback in the National Football League, it's going to sting big time. So, in fairness to the Lions, that's the situation. But I sure don't feel good with him going in. I mean, think about what he's done, okay? And this is not a knock on him as an overall player, all right? He's been a fine pro. No one's making a bust of him in Canton, but he's been a fine pro. Over the last 3 years, he's played in 5 games and thrown 15 passes. and you went out and you thought this is the guy for us. To me, that's ridiculous. But let's not argue about the backup quarterback. All right, that's too damn easy. There's been some bad looks by leagues as of late. USA Baseball had a bad look when they lost to Italy 8-6 and we're down 8-0. The NBA, and we'll get into this, had a bad look when Bam Adebayo scored 83. Seriously, I mean, guy's averaging 20 points a game. Guy's career high was 41. He had 41 in the first. He had 43, I believe, in the first half. He had 62 through three quarters.
And he shot how many free throws? 43 attempts, I think.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. That's an NBA record. The bottom line is it's a bad look that the NBA has that and how he went about it. I like that guy, by the way. I really like him. I'm glad he played for Team USA in the Olympics. I think he's a hell of a player. I would love him on my team. I wouldn't want him as my number one scoring option on my team. Quite honestly, I wouldn't want him as my number two scoring option on my team. But I like the player. What has happened and how he went about it, how he got there, is an embarrassment to the league. Not much the league can do about it. Eric Spoelstra's team missing, or maybe this is, I don't think he huddled his players up and said, I want you all to miss so we can get the rebound and get it to Bam. Okay. I think it was pretty obvious when you're up by 22 and you're still keeping in there what you're going to do. You're trying to do something for the player. Fine. Okay. I hate the way it went about. It seemed staged. It seemed choreographed. Washington is triple teaming him, and somehow he's still getting to the free throw line. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why he's in the game at the end. I mean, when you have an opposing coach come out and say that really wasn't basketball in the fourth quarter, when you have alums who aren't judging it based on his accomplishment or who he leapfrogged, Kobe Bryant, to get to that accomplishment, but how he went about it, you know it's a problem, okay? It's a bad look. What's going on in the National Football League is a bad look. And Bam Adebayo, by the way, averages about 20 points a game, and he's scoring 83. You know, Wilt Chamberlain's averaging 52 points a game, and he scored 100. You understand, right? And by the way, he had 25 rebounds in that game when he scored 100 for Philly. Kobe Bryant, he's one of the greatest scorers of all time, 81. You understand it. Bam Adebayo, career high 41. Guy goes to the free throw line about 7 times a game. Okay, 6 times a game. And he's going there 43 times. Guys, averaging 20 points per game. He's quadrupling his average.
And he only hit 7 threes. So it was a lot of either free throws.
22.
Yeah, that's what
right?
I mean. Like, it's not
crazy.
like he just chucked a bunch of threes and made them. He got to 83
in the first quarter.
Yes, you're right.
He scored 5 first quarter threes. That means he made 2 threes the rest of the game, and he's scoring 83 points. It's a bad look.
Yeah, it is.
All right? Not trying to take anything away from the player and the accomplishment.
No, good for him.
It's good for him. It's just not a great look for the league. What's going on in the NFL is not a good look either. Where the Ravens, I mean, Eric DeCosta is the general manager. He's trying to come out and saying, you know what, this gutted me that we didn't get the Max Crosby deal done. You traded for a player knowing that he was injured at the end of last year, even though his Instagram video, him playing basketball, him jumping on, you know, a trampoline and all that other stuff with his kids would prove otherwise. But you knew the player was injured when you traded for him. Not many people are buying that the Baltimore Ravens said, sorry, he didn't pass the physical. They recognized no one signed Trey Hendrickson yet. We can keep our 2 first-round picks and get an impact defensive end? That's absolutely what happened. The bad look is more than just the Max Crosby situation, though. It has happened to Baltimore in each of the last 2 years. We'll explain when we come back. This is a Tullymore Thursday. This is X's and Bros. And we're proudly brought to you here in the second hour by Meijer.
The
Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 12th through 15th.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside DeVos Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show. Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize in rigging them right.
It's a fishing boat supermarket. Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
The Hog Trough, a truck-size aquarium filled with game fish, plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing, chopping, and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show this Thursday through Sunday at DeVos Place, downtown Grand Rapids. Sportsmen never miss it.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Back with you on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Thanks for being with us. 18 after the hour. Phone line on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Always welcome the text at Sports Radio 21,000. Always welcome the engagement on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook as well. I did see somebody yesterday, by the way. They were suggesting that more needs to be paid attention to Carolina and what Dan Morgan, their general manager, has been able to do so far, including the signing of Jalen Phillips to a $120 million contract, and said they got a star. And I immediately said, wait a minute. Dude had 5 sacks last year. We look at Jalen Phillips because the Lions fan base wanted Jalen Phillips in a trade, including yours truly. We think that he's a star. He's not. He's a good player. What's his job? If I asked you what Jalen Phillips, what his job was in Miami last year and Philadelphia, what was his job? What's he supposed to do?
Rush the passer.
Right. He's supposed to get to the passer, right? Do you know how many sacks he had for Philadelphia last year?
No clue.
2.
Underwhelming.
Yeah. He had 5 sacks all season. He's never had more than 8.5 sacks in his career. In a single season, he's got the same number of sacks in his career as Myles Garrett had last year. And you think he's a star? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, going back to when that trade happened, the way it was talked about, the way it was covered, this is going to put Philly over the top.
Yeah, I like him. I do. I mean, he's 26. I would take him on my team for sure. But if you had a first-round pick and you drafted him to rush the passer, and he's never had more than 8 sacks in a season, 8.5 sacks in a season. I mean, Al-Qadim Muhammad, for crying out loud, had 11 last year. You pay this guy $120 million to do that? Come on, man. 8.5 sacks 1 year, 7, 6.5, 1 because he was hurt, then 5. That's a star? Not in my book. Probably not in yours either. Let's get to some text. Go ahead.
Might be time to take a look at trading for Kayvon Thibodeau, setting the 4th round pick you got in the Monty trade. Try him for a year. He's probably the best option at defensive end opposite Hutch. Then sign after the season, or worst case, get a compensatory pick when he signs elsewhere.
I like that mindset. I do. I would have to look up his cost, how much it costs for him. He's a guy who he's had one really good year. Okay. Not just I don't mind that mindset, as I've already stated. Just keep this in mind. He's a guy who played 10 games last year, 12 games the year before. You know what you and your buddies say if he doesn't work out? Why are you trading for an injured player?
Especially when you've dealt with Marcus Davenport the last couple of years.
Thank you. That's number one. Number two, you're going to say, you're going to trade away. And remember, he was a high pick. He was a first-round pick. He was the 5th overall choice. You're going to trade whatever the resources are for a guy who's only had 8 sacks over the last 2 years combined. Where's the production, Shep? Why would you make that move? I think we got to be a little careful there. The injuries or the lack of consistency is a problem, and the lack of production is a bit of a problem. So I think it needs to be addressed without a doubt. I wouldn't mind that player. I think a lot depends on what you would have to give up. Good thought, though. Probably wouldn't be my first choice, but a good thought. All right, go ahead. More.
I think the Lions should go after Tommy DeVito with his Kafka connection.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm not wild about that either, but I do like that they're at least thinking outside the box with the Kafka stuff.
Yeah, I think really good players and really good coaches can find a way together. I never understood the Tommy DeVito love in New York, quite honestly. The dude's played in 8 games in his career, man. I mean, it's or started. I'm sorry, he started. I think he's played in like 12 because I looked this up the other day. He didn't throw a pass last year, so no thanks. I'll move on. I'll get somebody else. I'd much rather have a statue back there than Tommy DeVito. There's nothing about his game that excites me whatsoever. Anything else?
Yeah, this one says, stating the Lions can't win without Goff is a wild comment. He's what's holding this team back during this window.
Well, that's an interesting thought. What I said is they can't win without their starting quarterback. Not many good teams with good quarterbacks can. And I don't believe, no matter what the team is, they're not going anywhere with a backup quarterback. Look, even Philadelphia, when they won years ago with Nick Foles, even if he's your starter for the year without Carson Wentz was on pace for an MVP season. They're not winning. Okay, he did it near the end, and he did it in the Super Bowl, and I give him a ton of credit. But for the most part, you had to go all season with it. It's not happening. You think that's what's holding this team back? I think there's other people who share in that thought. I do. I would love to know if you can be a little bit more specific on what part of his game holds them back. It's not the passing part, because he threw for the second most yards last year, even though I know there's a lot of it is yards after reception, yards after catch. If I have a quarterback that's going to complete 68% of his passes, he's going to throw for 4,500 yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio is 34-8. I feel like my team's in pretty good spot. Now, you thinking he holds them back, I think has more to do with the fact that he is a guy who's on a spot, because he suffered a career high in 38 sacks a year ago. And I get where you're coming from in that regard. But it was a career high, and you and I think would both agree that, well, that offensive line was bad last year. That was the weakest part of the Lions game. He's not so terrible where he's leading the league in sacks every single year. It's a little troubling over the last 3 years. It's 30 or more. 30 or more. He's been sacked 30 or more times in each of the last 3 years. He's never going to be confused with Michael Vick. All right? Given time, he can spin it. I don't think Jared Goff is holding the Detroit Lions back. I don't think that's the biggest problem for this team. Now, what is? Secondary, lack of a consistent pass rush. And last year was the offensive line. Is Goff part of it? Yes. I'm not going to, claim that he doesn't have any responsibility. But to say that he's holding them back, this would be a very interesting conversation as we move forward. Who would you rather have? You're not. You wouldn't want any of the quarterbacks coming out this year. Stop. You don't. They're not good enough. I don't think there's one superstar in the NFL draft coming out of this quarterback position. I like Mendoza in college. I think it's an awesome story. I wouldn't use my first overall pick on him. I wouldn't have done it last year with any of the quarterbacks either. I wouldn't draft for need in that regard. But who are the guys who are so much better than Jared Goff that you think would be the answer to the Lions, what you would consider their problem? Quick timeout. Back with more. We're brought to you by Meyer here in the second hour.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.com. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com. Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
35 after the hour. Welcome back. Glad to be with you on a Tullymore Thursday here on X's and Bros. Text line is Sports Radio 21,000. We get a lot of engagement in that regard, and we're getting more engagement via the YouTube channel that we have at XB Mornings. Bob's been very active. We appreciate it very much. Noah's been in there. You guys are fantastic. I got news for people. What you think matters does matter, and it matters to us. We're not going to always agree. That's okay. There's a lot of people who don't like my take on, I would not extend Jahmyr Gibbs before I had to. Well, I honestly, I would play that rookie contract out, and then I would franchise tag him if I had to, because of the running backs. People don't agree with it. That's fine. That's okay. I mean, that's what makes sports radio and sports in general fun talking about. Just know this. I mean, if you're going to have an opinion on something and I don't agree with it, I have to come with some facts. I'm going to come with what I would consider proper reasoning. So let's make sure we're having that type of dialogue. Via the chat. Let me see here. Oh, thank goodness you're back. I had to listen to salivate over Michigan State the whole time. Actually, just kidding. I think Trent respects Michigan basketball. I could be wrong there. I think you respect how good they are. You should respect how good.
I think there's no debate who the best team in the Big Ten is. How's that?
Yeah,
no debate.
I don't know how you can. Sorry.
Exactly.
I mean, you can hate Michigan. You can hate Dusty May. You can hate them all you want. But when you go undefeated on the road in the Big Ten for the first time since 75, 76 Indiana Hoosiers who won the national championship.
Outstanding.
When you do what you've done to teams, beating them by double digits, they've got, 16 wins by double digits? Come on. Of course he's going to respect that. It's might be reluctant, but you can't. I can hate Michael Jordan all I want. It's stupid of me not to respect how great the player truly was. That's when you lose credibility, and that's when you lose arguments.
Well said.
If you're going to sit there and let your personal feelings and your personal, loyalty get in the way of common sense, you can't have a conversation. Don't do it, because it doesn't work. So I think Trent recognizes, it doesn't mean he's rooting for Michigan. It just means he recognizes how good they are. At some point, you have to sit back and go, that team's just better.
And I think going into that Michigan State game, it wouldn't have mattered if they lost. They're still going to be a 1 seed. They've proven that. They put that together in over a big sample size this season, like you said, blowing teams out and not losing on the road. That, to me, I don't think that Michigan State game mattered whatsoever for Michigan's seeding.
No, the only thing I would have thought is if another team got hot, Michigan had possibly lost to Michigan State and maybe in their first game of the Big Ten tournament, you could almost see them go from, a number 1 or a number 2 overall seed to a number 4 or maybe a top number 2 if another team got hot.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen, because suddenly you get 2 losses in your last 2 games at the end of a season. You get upset in the Big Ten tournament, you lose at home to Michigan State. And there would have been no problem with that either, because Michigan State was ranked 8th when they played Michigan at the end of the year. I think what that showed me is that Michigan State I think it went on their game. They're an Elite 8 team. Okay. Because I thought they played pretty well. I really did. When Jackson Kohler's playing well, when Cooper's playing well, that combined with Fears, it's all good stuff. I am surprised that Michigan State is light at their guard position, backup guard position to Jeremy Fears as they are, number 1. But number 2, it shows you the importance of being able to shoot the basketball. It does. And if there's an area where Michigan State has to improve, specifically in recruiting moving forward, they got to get some shooters, man. Period. That's just the way the game is played. You may not like it. I don't care whether you like it or not, because I don't like the way I don't like the way the NFL is, where the defense is, okay, and how ticky-tack it can be on members of the secondary. I don't like the way baseball is played at times. So what? That's the way it is. Play within the rules and do it. All these people bitching about Dusty May. I don't know Dusty May, okay? Oh, my God. All he does is go through the portal and all this other stuff. Yeah, and you're bitching that your team doesn't go through the portal. Or you're complaining that Dabo Swinney doesn't use the portal.
Right. If it's your team that's winning.
If it's your team, it's great.
Yes.
I'll take the portal. Absolutely.
The winning cures all.
You're getting better players. You may not like the way college athletics is run these days with that. Okay. I don't like it either.
But you want to win.
That's the way it is run. And if you want to win and you want your team to be successful, they have to adapt. And if they don't adapt, you're going to be left crying about it and being pissed off that everybody else is. It's no different than what we're dealing with the Detroit Lions. All these other teams are getting free agents. Why isn't Brad Holmes? I get it. Because that's how you help build the team. So you can hate on him all you want. He's taking advantage of a system that is in place right now, much like players and coaches and front office personnel have done in sports in general their entire careers.
Dusty May is playing the game right now better than anyone. I truly believe that. Because his team is completely built for
when the
portal.
Red Wings were really good, what did they do? They went out and signed free agents. Jimmy Devellano and Ken Holland worked together to sign free agents. I want Luc Robitaille. I want Brett Hull. I want this guy. I want this guy. Come on over, Curtis Joseph. You know why they're able to do that? Nobody else could afford those guys. But the Red Wings did, and you had no problem with it whatsoever. All I hear from people is, you know what? You better adapt. You better find a way to get this guy, and that's the way it's played today. Otherwise, get out of it. Nick Saban got out of it. All the other coaches, they stayed in it. Then deal with it. And don't be pissed off that one team's doing it and your team's not. Phone number is on the wire hotline, 866-838-4843. But I think Trent understands and recognizes that Michigan's really good in that regard. Just like in the past, in the latter stages of Tommy Amaker's career and the early stage of John Beilein, you had to look at Michigan State. If you're a Michigan fan, so holy crap, that team can go out and get guys. How did they go out and get Jason Richardson? How did they go out and get Mateen Cleaves? How did they get these dudes? Well, they got them by whatever. It could be their tradition. It could be the familiarity that Tom Izzo and his staff had with these players. Whatever the case. They were just better at certain aspects of putting together a basketball team. And now things have changed. So you got to go out and you got to at least do a little bit in the portal. You may not want to build your entire team around it, but you got to do something with it. And in today's day and age in basketball, I don't care if it's at the professional level, the collegiate level, the high school level. If you can't shoot the three, you're going to be in deep trouble.
Yeah.
And you can talk all you want about toughness. You can talk all you want about defense. You can talk all you want about rebounding. But damn it, you better be able to shoot the threes when you need to.
And like you said, the backup guard spot, to Michigan State's credit, Divine Ugochukwu was a transfer. He was playing quite a bit. He was actually starting some games, and he was a pretty solid shooter. You lost him for the season, so that's a big loss just in terms of what we're talking about here. But you're right that Michigan is built more for 2026 college hoops. There's no denying that.
Yeah. How many shooters how many shooters do you think MSU has?
Yeah, I'd say two.
What would you call shooters?
Jordan Scott and Kurt Tang. So I'd say two. Two guys that are known for shooting.
You got other guys who can shoot the basketball.
Yes, right.
I'm talking about guys who are known to shoot the basketball. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how many of those guys do you have to game plan for? Do you have to recognize, you know what, this dude's a threat? Like, I would guess the most threes made for Michigan State, and I don't mean to sound like the only way you can do it is shoot threes. But in order,
it's a huge part of the game today.
It's a massive part of the game. So if I asked you that, what would you say? I would say 50. The leader. Would you say would you say 50 3-pointers made in a season?
Sure.
Whoever leads Michigan State in shooting, and I'm talking about just 3-point shooting, is it fair to say the leader is probably 3-point shooting?
Yeah, because you're talking at least 1.5 a game at that point, right? And that's not too much to ask in this day and age.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be.
So I would guess that. Michigan, I would think it's a little bit more than that. And if it's a little bit more, you probably have more guys, right, who make those threes. So that's the thing about Lindebord. He can make threes. Kadju can make threes. Trey McKinney can make threes. Nimari Burnett, I would guess, leads them in three-point shooting. I don't have the stats in front of me, but he's a guy who can shoot threes.
LJ Kaysen before he went down.
Yeah, they have more options when it comes to the three-point shooting. Whereas with Michigan State, my guess is Jackson Kohler from a three.
Yeah,
Kurtang?
the numbers are a little
Jeremy
bit misleading because guys like Kurtang and Jordan Scott their role has expanded as the season has gone on. And I think where they're at right now, those are the two guys that are primarily handling the shooting.
Jordan Scott might be your best three. I don't have the field goal percentage in front of me, but he's probably close to your best. I would say Jackson Kohler would be. But either way, you need more depth in that regard. How many triples has Michigan State made this year?
Well, and even then, you shouldn't be banking on Jackson Kohler as your big man when he's best suited down low with the footwork and the post moves. You don't want to rely on him to shoot your threes. You know.
Well, I mean, he's a stretch.
He can stretch it. I'm just saying.
I don't have any problem with that because I think he can do both.
But ideally, you'd have a guard.
Player. I don't think he's an NBA player, but I think he's a good player. Well, if that's the case, should we talk about Yaxel Lindebord? I mean, it's the same thing, isn't it? Why is it okay if he shoots threes? He's a 4, and he's a guy who's probably better suited down low.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll bet you Michigan has about 50 to 60 more threes made than Michigan State.
Yeah, I would say easily. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's about 60, that's probably 2 a game. We'd have to look that up. It's probably 2 a game. That turns out to be a pretty big swing at times. Via the stream. Let's see here. Shep, I noticed the fact that let me see. I think the Lions fans are frustrated with Goff not being a mobile quarterback. Yes, I would agree with that. I think they are too. Have you not noticed? We've always known that, though, right?
The people who get on Goff's case.
Cal, we knew it when you followed him with the Rams. You guys all play fantasy football. You know damn well who Jared Goff is. Him coming to Detroit and you watching him and going, damn. I didn't realize he wasn't that mobile. You had to have known that. He's been the same player for his entire career. I never watched him in high school, but he had to be that. He's the same player he's always been. So it's not confusing to me. You want him to be somebody that he's never been, except who certain players are. You know what they are. You know, certain guys aren't good three-point shooters. You know, certain guys are not very good as an everyday player in baseball. They're not good shortstop. They're just guys who can move around, okay? You know who Jared Goff is. He's not a mobile quarterback. You hoping to watch a game against the Minnesota Vikings and Jared Goff be your leading rusher or break one off for 52 yards to pay dirt is not going to happen. So don't expect it. The question is he a good enough quarterback to lead a team to a championship? I believe the answer to that is yes. He's proven that by getting the Rams to the Super Bowl. You can talk about Todd Gurley all you want. That's fine. Another reason why you probably don't invest in running backs long-term, solid 8 years, but that's it. But who are the quarterbacks who've won Super Bowls as of late? And how mobile are they? Jalen Hurts is pretty mobile. You know what the complaint about Jalen Hurts is? He can't throw downfield.
Which you'd rather have. I'd rather have a quarterback that can throw.
Absolutely. Sam Darnold, on the spot. Not necessarily a mobile quarterback. Matthew Stafford, not necessarily a mobile quarterback. I get it, man. I mean, you want Bo Nix. But I hate to tell you, if Bo Nix was your quarterback, you'd be bitching left and right.
You would find something else.
Yeah. He can't find certain. You want Caleb Williams, you'd be complaining left and right that he's missing wide open receivers. You want Baker Mayfield, you would be complaining left and right that he wasn't making big third down throws. You want Justin Herbert, even though he's not necessarily really a mobile quarterback, you'd be complaining left and right that he cannot win in the postseason.
People will always find something to complain about if they don't like the player. And I think what do we hear? The very first thing when people complain about Jared Goff is the mobility or lack of.
You're going to find something wrong with every single quarterback in the National Football League. Right now, there are people in Los Angeles who are complaining about Matthew Stafford because he's not mobile and because he's old. People are complaining about Dak Prescott because he can't win big in postseason play. People might be complaining about Drake May to a certain extent because he can't beat teams that are over 500. What's wrong with Sam Darnold? Well, 1 year doesn't prove anything to me. What's wrong with Trevor Lawrence? Well, Trevor Lawrence never did it until one season. He hasn't been the first overall pick that we expected him to be. What's wrong with Caleb Williams? His high completion percentage isn't high, or his completion percentage isn't high enough. What's wrong with Bo Nix? Denver is known as a defensive team. You can't win with Nix. You're winning with the defense. What's wrong with Justin Herbert? Justin Herbert can't win in the postseason. We can go on and on and on. There are people complaining about Lamar Jackson. He's won 2 MVPs, but he can't get to the AFC Championship game and get to the Super Bowl. Why not? Outside of Kansas City, who is satisfied with their quarterback? You're going to find people complaining left and right about him. I don't care if it's Jordan Love. I don't care if it's Josh Allen. You're going to find a problem. Maybe not Josh Allen. Maybe take that back. People in Buffalo love Josh Allen, and I understand why. But don't kid yourself. After the playoff game this past year, people will have a serious issue with Josh Allen if he doesn't get it done this season. It's just the way it is with the position. So I don't think Jared Goff is unique to a lot of different. Via the chat here, Shep, with Michigan and Michigan State both having new football coaches, who's going to have a better season? Well, that's a good question. That's a really good question. What Kyle Whittingham has put together early on has been pretty impressive. Portal. Getting certain guys from Utah.
Yeah, I think the smart answer to that question is Michigan.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that Michigan State can't have a successful season, turning things around with Pat Fitzgerald in year one.
Well, that wasn't the question, though.
That's what I mean. Like, I think that the smart answer here is Michigan.
Yes, it is. It's Michigan because of what Whittingham has been able to put together. And let's face it, he doesn't have as big a hole to climb out of as Pat Fitzgerald does. I thought both coaches were really good hires by both universities. And this is not me towing a line by any stretch. Before Jonathan Smith was let go, I said, go get Pat Fitzgerald.
You did. You called it.
Okay. And I think he's a really good football coach. And when Michigan let Sharon Moore go, and rightfully so, it took too long, I said, I gave 2 names, Matt Campbell and Kyle Whittingham. I think Kyle Whittingham's a fantastic coach. Does that mean that either one of these guys can sustain a heavy, upper-handed situation in the Big Ten compared to Ryan Day or Dan Lanning or others? No, but I think they're good football coaches. My guess would, because Michigan has more with which to work, that they would take that leap a little bit sooner than Pat Fitzgerald and Michigan State. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. Text line is Sports Radio 21,000. You can always get involved in the chat here on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter as well. We're back with the final hour on X's and Bros. This hour has been brought to you by Meyer on a Tullymore Thursday.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Ferris Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
rank the running backs for 2026 this coming season. Okay, obviously this coming season. Duh. What else is 2026? Dumbass. I'll get to that here in a moment, and then a power stat that you've got to hear. First things first. Lions restructured Jared Goff's contract, free up $32 million in cap space. Italy blows out Team Mexico 9-1 to win Pool B in the World Baseball Classic, so they were undefeated. Vinny Pasquantino hit 3 homers. John Birdie, Michigan guy, born and raised in Michigan, he hit a solo homer. Aaron Nola tossed 5 scoreless. Basically the entire Italian team. Jacob Marcy is from Michigan. John Birdie's from Michigan. Vinny Pasquantino is from Virginia. All right. Kyle Teal is from New Jersey. Jack Caglione is from Florida. Dante Nori is actually Canadian. Michael Lorenzen is Californian. But most of them are USA born. Okay. It's crazy. But that in Italy, most of them are born in the United States. They have Italian heritage. So they're helping Italy do good things right now in the World Baseball Classic. And that helped out Team USA. Team USA is going to play Canada tomorrow in Houston because they reached the quarterfinals. They needed an Italy win over Mexico, and they got it. Pistons are going to host Philly tonight. The Sixers have dropped 3 in a row on the road. Detroit has won the first 2 meetings between the two teams. They are 31-10 against the East. And yet I don't hear as many national people. This could be my fault, by the way. Maybe it's selective hearing on my part. Perhaps I need to pay closer attention and not always feel like everybody's out to get us, quote unquote, with the Pistons. But I hear a lot of national people talking about Boston, rightfully so. I think Boston's really good. Cleveland. I thought Cleveland was really good. The injuries have hurt them a little bit. And I hear a lot of people talking about the Knicks, which you and I have discussed. For the life of me, can't figure it out. I don't get it. It's not that they're a bad team because they're good. I mean, they're 42-25. That's a good season. They're on pace for a really strong season. I'm not going to deny that. They're pretty damn good at home. Detroit's 23-8 at Little Caesars. The Knicks at Madison Square Garden are 23-9. Detroit opened up a can of whoop ass on them there, but I just want you to know I'm not trying to diss the New York Knicks. If it weren't New York, and if it weren't that they reached the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago, I don't think many people would be saying as much as they are about them. And I think it has more to do with the former than the latter. And I don't get that. I should probably be used to it by now. And please stop with the whole, they did reach the Eastern Conference Finals. Look, I get that. They've won some playoff series. I guess that's convinced you. It doesn't matter the team that you're looking at. It doesn't matter the matchups. What matters most to a lot of national members in the media is, hey, this team's been there before. Oh, well, if that's the case, I mean, geez, just roll out that red carpet for every team that has been there and been really good at doing it. Even though it might be a different team this year, even though other teams may have gotten better, because that team was there, by all means, let's just make sure we pave the way there, because that's the most important thing. People feel like the experience is the most important thing, I guess. I don't buy that. But if that were the case, then people should have been given more credit to some of the other teams that have been there before but aren't having as good a year. At what point do you stop and say, credit there because they've been there, they've done that, but let's at least acknowledge this team that's had a really good year? If you want to look at hockey a year ago, you could do that, because who was it? It was the Panthers who had been there before, and they proved it again. Now, that didn't seem to work too well for Edmonton. They've been there before, and what happened to them? Well, they end up losing again. So I think that's the fine line that people have, that you have to walk in that regard. Okay. Here's the poll question. Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. Now that they've freed up $32 million for Jared Goff and restructured, what do you do? Ink young players to extensions? Sign a free agent right tackle, sign free agent defensive players, or restructure more players. Vote as often as you want. At XB Mornings, we'll give you the results Friday morning. Okay? A power stat for you. You ready? This is a good one. You know, I love my baseball power stats. Okay? Joe DiMaggio played 13 years. Okay? In 1936, he and the Yankees won a World Series. They did the same thing in 1937, 38, 39, and 41. He then went to war. He was gone in 1943, 1944, 1945. He came back, and 2 years later, he won a World Series in 47, in 49, in 50, and 51. Those are power stats. 9 World Series titles between 1936 and 1951, but he also missed 3 years due to World War II. Think of that for a moment, okay? And I get it. There's people who have – I got in a debate with somebody via text the other day, and they were talking about – well, this was about hockey, and that I used a comparison of what Wayne Gretzky did compared to what Connor McDavid has done and what Macklin Celebrini has done. All right. And you know how I feel about Connor McDavid. He's the most gifted skater I've ever seen. I think he's awesome. I love watching him play. But Wayne Gretzky's the greatest hockey player of all time, offensively. All right. Because I'm not going to sit there and try to convince you that he was this great defensive player. All right. By any stretch. Although I will say this. When you look at, do you think plus minus is important in hockey?
Yes.
Okay. In other words, you're on the ice when your team is doing something well. All right. Wayne Gretzky was a plus 520 player.
That's outrageous.
Yeah. Plus 520. I'm sorry. You can't be that bad defensively if you're out there and you're a plus 520. So he had a stretch later in his career where he was kind of a minus player. But he led the league in plus minus. This is something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. He led the league in plus minus 4 straight years and 5 out of 6. So let me put it in context for you, because I think in Detroit, we love Nicholas Lidstrom. And I do too. How can you not? I think he's the greatest defenseman of all time. Wayne Gretzky's a plus 520 player. Nicholas Lidstrom's a plus 450 player. Let that sink in for a moment. Nick Lidstrom, again, I'll reiterate, greatest defensive player I've ever seen. He was a minus for a season once in his career. He was a -2 at the age of 40. He also had 62 points, by the way. Okay. He had 16 flipping goals. Anyway, he was a -2. That's the only year in his 20-year career where he was a minus player. Those are power numbers. But I had this debate, and people were talking about, well, back in those days, they played against plumbers and electricians. And my initial reaction was, you young punk you have no idea. What an idiotic thing to say. And I wanted to say that because you forget that they played against Bossy, and he played against Lemieux, and he played against Yzerman, and he played against Coffey, and he played against some of the greatest players who have ever played the sport, and you're calling them plumbers? How well do you think he would do compared to Michael Rasmussen this year? Michael Rasmussen hasn't scored a goal in 21 games. You're calling guys back then plumbers? What are you calling today's players? They don't have to plumb because they make so much money. It doesn't mean they're worth it. We're back after this.
It's time to go on the court with Tim Stout. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Big Ten tournament time. Michigan, the defending champion, the number 1 seed, a 4-game winner for the Big Ten regular season title after a 90-80 win over Michigan State on Sunday. And the Wolverines beat the Spartans twice during the regular season. So Michigan State finishes 25-6 and will play the late game late Friday night in Chicago as the 3rd seed of the Big Ten tournament, which might be a better draw than the 2nd seed because Michigan State will avoid Purdue and likely get UCLA if UCLA can get through the bracket. At that point, Selection Sunday coming up, and Michigan State and Michigan could still beat for the Big Ten tournament title this coming Sunday. We'll see.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
You know, we were talking about the Bam Adebayo 83-point performance from the other night against Washington. A lot of people, including those in the NBA, how shall I put this? Uninspired. How's that? From what he did. Fair or unfair? Where would he rank among players you thought? If I had said to you going into the week or going into, Tuesday, who's going to score 83 points in a game? Where would Bam Adebayo rank on your list?
He probably wouldn't even be in the top 30.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe top 50.
Yeah, because here's the thing, too. I mean, there are players who aren't as good as him that I would have thought maybe had a better chance at 83, if you know what I mean. Because you could pick a shooter or someone who could just get hot for a night.
For sure.
Like Tyrese Maxey. Very good player, but Bam's probably a little bit better overall, but Tyrese Maxey's a lot more likely to get 83. Yeah. I would have told you, right?
Yeah, so I thought that the other day, and then I'm like, well, he does average 20 a game, in fairness to him. Okay, now that's a long way from 83, but it's still, a guy who he can score. He's not viewed necessarily as a scorer, right? But I think he's a guy who can put up decent numbers, but you'd never think he could put up that many numbers. What year was it? Do you remember when Kobe scored 81?
2008, 2007, maybe?
2007, 2008. He that was the year he won the MVP, right? I think he was the MVP that year. He averaged 28 points per game. Okay.
2006, by the way. I just looked it up. January of 06.
Okay. That year he averaged 35.5 points a game. 35.5.
Outstanding.
Bam Adebayo averages 20 a game. All right. If I said to you, so maybe when I said maybe not even the top 50, that's hyperbolic. That's not true. He's just not viewed as that guy, right?
Right.
On the other hand, how many guys are viewed as that guy? How many guys are viewed as that guy could easily go off for 70 or 80 points? I mean, not many people envision 80 points, do they?
No. There's a reason it hasn't only it's only happened twice.
100 points. Bam Adebayo 83. Kobe Bryant 81. That's it. There's only 3 guys in the history of the sport that have ever done that. Okay. Michael hasn't done it. LeBron James hasn't done it. George Gervin didn't do it. Some of the greatest scorers of all time have not done it. You've got guys like Chamberlain had 78. Doncic had 73. So did David Thompson. Chamberlain did it 4 times, for crying out loud. Okay. Chamberlain had 72. All right.
Didn't Devin Booker score 70 10 years ago or so?
Devin Booker did score 70. Yeah. So did Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So did Will Chamberlain.
Many times.
Will Chamberlain's unbelievable. Michael Jordan had 69, I think. Pete Maravich had 68. Chamberlain had 68. Chamberlain had 67 points 5 times. He had 66. Okay. We're talking about a dominant player here in Wilt that never gets talked about nearly enough. A dominating player, arguably the most dominating center of all time. Anyway, who are the guys that immediately came to mind if I said to you, he's going to score 83? Who would it be? For me, it was Luka Doncic. I would have thought Anthony Edwards, perhaps Gilgeous-Alexander, only from this standpoint, he gets to the free throw line a lot. I could see Jaylen Brown going crazy. I could see Donovan Mitchell. Kawhi Leonard had 45 last night. I could have seen him. Maybe Kevin Durant.
I still put KD on the list. Yeah.
But Durant for sure. Booker's done it close to that before by scoring 70. So he would be in it. James Harden, I think he had, what did he have? He had a massive amount and they took him out, is what they did.
Yeah, he's in the same bucket as Kevin Durant for me. Like, I've seen those guys do it before or go off before.
He had 60 points in like 30 minutes, and
wow.
Then he sat. So, but not Bam Adebayo. I mean, those guys are all. There's not the thing about it is there's not that many guys that you could see having that many points. I mean, even if you look at Nikola Jokic, could you see him scoring 80 or 83? I probably couldn't go that far.
No, because
I couldn't see Jalen Brunson doing it, and I couldn't see Cade Cunningham doing it. I can see Cade Cunningham scoring 50. I could see him scoring close to 60. 83, he's not that type of player. He doesn't hog the ball, and he sure doesn't get the whistles like many of expect.
Yeah, there is a level of selfishness you have to even sniff 83.
Yes.
Like you said, there's a reason it's only been done twice since the century turned. Like, this is incredible stuff Bam Adebayo did, but you have to have a certain level of selfishness. And that's not to take anything away, but like you just pointed out, Nikola Jokic, Cade Cunningham, players like that.
They just don't play that style.
Correct.
Doncic plays that style. Gilgeous-Alexander plays that style.
Anthony Edwards is a great
definitely plays that style. Those three guys, I could definitely see it. It has to be the perfect storm to a certain extent. You have to be obviously on a roll, but you have to be selfish, and your team needs you to be selfish to a certain extent. If I asked you, who's the leading scorer on the Miami Heat, who would you say?
Yeah, I'd say Bam.
It's not.
Is it Tyler Hero?
No, it's Norman Powell.
Yes.
In fact, Bam Adebayo is third on their team in scoring. It's Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, then Bam Adebayo.
What's Powell averaging? Do you have it up in front of you? Norman Powell, what's his average?
22.5.
Okay, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. That's kind of a strange statistic that you get a guy like Kobe Bryant was their leading scorer. Wilt Chamberlain was the leading scorer. Devin Booker, the leading scorer. When you look at the history of the sport and you see the guys who have made that many or been part of that group of how many points they have scored in a single season, they are their leading scorers. Damian Lillard was the leading scorer. David Robinson scored 71, leading scorer. Elgin Baylor scored 71. He was their leading scorer. Joel Embiid scored 70, leading scorer. Michael Jordan. I've given you the names, the Pete Maraviches, the Wilt Chamberlains. They're not playing second fiddle. Bam Adebayo doesn't fit for a lot of different reasons, including he's their third leading scorer. Find me another team in the NBA whose third leading scorer can put up a historic feat. For Detroit, that would be Tobias Harris. Cade Cunningham's their leading scorer. Then it's Jalen Duren at 18.5. Then it's Tobias Harris at 13. And I know that's a big drop because Adebayo, before the 83-point performance, was averaging under 20 a game. Now that he scored 83, now it's over 20 or right at 20. That would be like Jalen Duren averaging or getting 83 points because Duren's at 18.5. Adebayo is right around 19 before he set that type of mark. Our phone number is on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843. We're brought to you this hour by Avelo Airlines, AveloAir.com.
Avelo Airlines knows you love the Tigers because they love them too. It's why they have direct flights to Lakeland, Florida out of both Grand Rapids and Detroit. Thursdays and Sundays are nonstop out of GR, and Wednesdays and Saturdays are nonstop out of Detroit. So wherever you are in Michigan, you can get down to spring training to watch your Tigers. With everyday low fares, reliable service, you do not want to fly any other way. Head to AveloAir.com to book your trip now. That's AVELO air.com and use code HUGE for $20 off a round-trip base fare if you book before March 31st. Restrictions do apply.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Okay, 35 after the hour. Welcome back on a Tullymore Thursday. Well, Tullymore should be opening up pretty soon, and looking forward to getting out there and play some wonderful golf. Man, it is such a special place. Anyway, it's a Tullymore Thursday, and we're brought to you by Avelo Airlines, AveloAir.com. We'll get to the final results and the poll question from yesterday here in a moment. First, I think football is the number one sport in our country. Is that fair to say? I think so.
Without a doubt.
Okay. Football is, in the markets in which the NFL is positioned, in all likelihood, is number one where they are. Los Angeles, no. I mean, I think it's the Dodgers and Lakers, and then it's probably the Chargers or then the Rams and or Chargers. Okay, more likely the Rams. I think there are exceptions. Okay, there are exceptions where you're looking at a team in New York. I think it's the Yankees more than anybody else. In Boston, it's probably the Red Sox, Celtics, then Patriots. But I think for the most part, football is king. Who are the most loyal fan bases in the National Football League? And where do you think the Lions rank? Now, there are a lot of ways you can go about determining this. In today's day and age, we happen to look at the most convenient way, and that is social media. There are a number of different handles that I follow in football, including one that has about 500,000 followers. Not that that's the be all end all, but they are a constant producer of football content, ML Football. They've listed the top 10 most loyal NFL fan bases. Do you think the Lions are in there? And if so, where would you think they rank?
I don't think they get the national respect there to be in the top 10.
You don't have to give me 10 per se, but just give me 5 teams you think would be considered among the most loyal fan bases in the National Football League.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think Seattle's up there.
Okay, so
12th man. They have that sort of reputation.
Seattle?
I think, yes, I would say Green Bay.
Okay.
This is difficult. I'm not going to lie. This is tough. I guess the Chiefs.
Okay.
Especially nowadays.
That's 3.
I don't want to say Dallas, but I think they've got to be in there.
Okay, that's 4. Give me one more.
New England.
All right. So for me, it was Cleveland, Buffalo, Green Bay, Dallas, and Seattle. Those were 5 of mine.
Okay.
All right.
I can see it.
Yeah. Oh, and Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh's a good one. That's a great one.
Yeah. So, I mean, Pittsburgh, you would think would be top 3.
Yeah, that was a miss for me for sure.
Yeah,
They're
3.
They're way up there.
Okay. And I put Seattle in there probably more because of the Super Bowl than anything else. But when you've got Green Bay and you've got, some of the elite franchises, I would say in sports history, Buffalo, they really don't have a whole lot. Cleveland, it's almost like it's a rite of passage and how bad things are.
I like your reasoning for Buffalo, though, because along that logic, you could maybe say, and I wouldn't go this far, but you could say like Jacksonville, because that's all they've got there.
But there's too many transplants there.
That's true.
Whereas
they're not on Buffalo's level at all.
In Buffalo, you're staying. Buffalo, the people who are staying there in Western New York, I mean, they're mostly homegrown people. There's not a lot of people going, I tell you what, man, if I have my druthers, I'm going to retire to Buffalo.
Yeah, but I like that reasoning you use for Buffalo because it's a little different.
Yeah, here is what they have listed. It's argumentative, but here's what they have listed. Number 10 is the Raiders, which to me automatically says wrong answer. On the other hand, if you look at, that's my knee-jerk reaction. Think about this. They've been in Oakland. They've been in Los Angeles, Now they're in Vegas.
And that's got to be the line of thinking there.
Those people in Oakland are always going to be Raiders fans. The people in Los Angeles, I would guess there's more Raiders fans in LA perhaps than there are Rams or Chargers. That's as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
It might change in the next 5 to 10 years. And now you've got Vegas. Anyway, so they've got them at 10. I would disagree with that, but that's who they have. They have the Cowboys at 9. It's not a surprise. It's as big nationally as there is any team in the National Football League. So they travel well because there are people in just about every market in America that love the Cowboys. So they've got them at 9. So I understand that. Okay. They've got Green Bay at 8. I think they would be higher, considerably higher. They've got the Lions at 7.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
okay. I mean, that
kudos
makes
to
sense to me. I just didn't want to be too much of a homer. It's hard to look at it from the outside. But I can see how the Lions would be in the top 10. Absolutely.
Considering how they traveled over the last few years, yeah, I think that's where they've turned some heads. So you didn't think they would get their national recognition. They have received their national.
Pleasantly surprised.
They've got Pittsburgh at 6, which is too low for me. Like, I think Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo are top 3. They've got the Bengals at 5. That surprises me. They've got the Bills at 4. They've got the Browns at 3. They've got the Jets at 2. And they've got the Eagles at 1. 3 teams from the AFC North are in the top 10. Cleveland, Cincy, and Pittsburgh in that order. It's not how I would put them. I would have Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then who cares? I don't think Cincy's top 10.
I was going to say that one sticks out to me.
So the 2 that stick out to me the most, Jets perhaps only because of the size of New York. That seems to be getting smaller every day, but it could be, just the Jets because of the size of New York. The 3 that stick out to me are the Jets. It's not that I don't believe Philly deserves to be there, but I don't think they're number 1. But it's the Jets, the Bengals, and the Raiders. Those are the 3 that I thought to myself, I would not have put them in those top 10. I would not have put the Bengals. I would not have put the Raiders. I would have had Seattle in there ahead of them. And probably, based on their recent success, I suppose, Kansas City. Kansas City has 2 things going for it. It has the Chiefs and the Royals. And the Royals aren't very good. Think about it for a minute. The Kansas City Royals in basketball, they are no longer, or the Kansas City Kings. They went to Sacramento a long time ago. All right? So Otis Birdsong playing for Kansas City is no longer. And they don't have a hockey team. They used to have an IHL team, but they don't. So they've got 2 major league sports. Is there some type of Indy race that I'm unfamiliar with in Kansas City? Is there some type of Grand Prix race that I'm unfamiliar with in Kansas City? Is that suddenly this massive soccer fan base? I don't think so. They love themselves some Kansas City Chiefs football, and they don't draw that well for the Royals, quite honestly. But when they're good, obviously they're bandwagon fans in that regard.
It's similar to what your reasoning was for Buffalo, honestly. Because, they only have the Bills and the Sabres. So it's similar to Kansas City in that regard. And it's not really a destination.
Yeah, they've got a AAA team, but how many people are going to that? They've got an indoor lacrosse team, and that draws really well, but that's not on anybody's radar. Yeah. I mean, that's what Buffalo is. Buffalo's got those 2 teams, and they used to have the Buffalo Braves, but Bob McAdoo's not coming back anytime soon. Okay? George Webster's not coming back anytime soon. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. The top 10 most loyal fan bases: Philly, Jets, Browns, Bills, Bengals, Steelers, Lions, Packers, Cowboys, Raiders. Remember, the key word there is loyal. It's not about who draws the most. It's about how many people they have who love that team. All right? So There you go. Let's get to the final results of the poll question from yesterday. Trent, what was the question and what were the results?
Yeah, after the 4-game slide for the Pistons, I asked you yesterday, with a 38-point win over the Nets, is your faith in the Pistons restored? 66% said no, they're still concerned. 34% of those who voted said, yep, they're back. So we bring you a poll question every day. XP Mornings on X. Thanks to all who voted.
What would the concern be for if people were concerned about the Detroit Pistons? And I'm not saying they're perfect because they're not. I mean, at one point they had the best record in basketball. They have been surpassed by Oklahoma City and San Antonio. And San Antonio beat them convincingly in both meetings this year. Okay?
Yep.
What would be the concern, and where does the concern stem from in terms of, hey, is it the East? It's not the division, right? I mean, they're up 7 games in the division. They're going to be Central Division champions, period. It's got to be the Eastern Conference. What's the deepest concern people have about the Pistons, do you think?
3-point shooting, no doubt. And perhaps the lack of a second bucket getter, if that makes sense. Like, I think Tobias Harris is fine in that regard, but a lot of people don't share that same confidence.
It's hard to convince people that when a guy's averaging 13 points a game.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I understand.
So I like him as a player. If you told me that your second best, your word, bucket getter is going to be Tobias Harris, I'd say this team's not going to have great success. So I would have a problem with that too. The question I have for many people, we always look at Batman and Robin. And if you look around the league, there's really not that many of them. There aren't. Who's the Robin to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as a Batman?
Well, it's Jalen Williams when he's healthy.
Well, okay, when he's healthy.
But
I'm asking
or Chet
you.
Holmgren.
I know it's one or the other. I'm asking you which one it is.
I would say Jalen Williams.
Okay. He's averaging 17.5 points a game. Why is he a Robin, but Jalen Duren's not, who's averaging 18.5 a game?
Yeah, good question. I have no issue with calling Jalen Duren a Robin.
Right, but when you said your second best bucket getter is Tobias Harris, and you're okay with that, a guy averaging 13 points a game, that's not a second bucket getter.
Right. They just play different.
Okay.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. They play differently, and Tobias, to me, like down the stretch, is someone who you give the ball to create something. Jalen Duren's not as creative on offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, there are 4 guys in Oklahoma City who average more than Tobias Harris. Okay. Ajay Mitchell averages more than Tobias Harris. That to me is like, okay, I don't want to say it's a red flag, but he's not your second best bucket getter. He's just not.
Well, and just to be clear here, I'm not saying Tobias is the second best player on the Pistons.
No, I know you're not. You're talking about but when you say second best bucket getter, it means your second best offensive option.
Yeah.
Okay. There are 4 guys on San Antonio who are averaging more than Tobias Harris.
Right. So if that's your indicator, it's not a good one. I got you.
It's part of it. So I think there's a concern there. My concern is, like you said, the 3-point shooting, but also the 3-point defense. When you got to go up against Boston, that's a team that can get 3-point shots. That's where, when you're talking about which team is your biggest concern, when people say Boston, that's a big reason. Is that Detroit doesn't shoot the ball from deep very well, and Detroit doesn't defend the triple very often or very well. And Boston can get threes, man. I mean, that's a team that, if you were talking about one of its strengths, okay, and I think it's got plenty of them, one of its strengths is what? Shooting the basketball from deep. Boston is one of those teams. Now, they may not, I mean, they're top 10 in 3-point shooting, but they are 3rd in the league in 3-point field goals made. The Pistons are bottom 3 in 3-point field goals made. I get that the Pistons win differently, and I think we respect the hell out of that. I do. I think we look at it and we're like, man, this team wins with defense. This team wins with rebounding. And this team wins with tough twos.
Which, by the way, is familiar to Pistons fans, too. So I don't think the fan base has any issue with it.
No, I think they do have an issue with it. I think they have a deep issue. I think that's the reason they're waiting for someone to elevate their play to become the Robin. You've got to have a guy who can shoot from the outside. It's what we said earlier today about Michigan and Michigan State. You may not like how the game has turned. You may want Pete Maravich and Alex English and back in the day, right? Johnny Moore. You may want those guys. That's not the way it works in the NBA any longer. In the NBA, you must be able to shoot the three ball. Who does it? Why has Charlotte played so well as of late?
They're shoot the lights out.
16 threes a game. Okay. If people believe in the Knicks, part of it is because they're making 15 threes a game. And it adds up, and you've got shooters. The Pistons are averaging 11 threes a game. That's a huge difference. When you're averaging 16 to 11, think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
It's 15 points a game.
Could easily be the difference any given night. I like what you said last week too, Shep, about how the way this team's winning is fun right now. If some of these guys don't develop a three-point shot, Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, or at least get more reliable,
yeah,
people they're gonna fade fast on those guys. Like, it's all fun and games right now, but if you're in a playoff series and you can't shoot, people are going to lose patience with those guys.
Yeah, I would say
that's
a
what
lot of those guys, I'm telling you, man, I think those guys, not that they're not good players, because they are. They're good players, but are they the type of guy who you're going to want long-term to help you out? I'm not sure they are. As much as I may like them, are they going to be a go-to guy in hitting, at making up some of the differences that your team has? Everybody worried about what's going to happen when you don't have Malik Beasley, you don't have Tim Hardaway Jr., all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're worried about that. You haven't replaced it, and you don't have anybody on your team who can replace it. You have to go out and get somebody who can do that.
And if your number one concern is three-point shooting, you have to mention guys like Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, because they play enough to where they should have some sort of respectable three-point game, and they don't.
I'm going to tell you something.
Those are your wings.
Next year, we're all going to look at this, all right? But next year, you're going to look at this. Tyler Hero is a free agent. And you're going to go, that's a guy who would fit really well with the Pistons, because he does something that not many other players can do. All right? It's a Max Strus. It's a Tyler Hero. It's maybe a Malik Monk. It's a Grayson Allen. Those guys are all free agents. Those guys all shoot threes. And it's an area that needs to be upgraded. Maybe that's the reason for the voting the way it went. Thank you for your involvement today. We really appreciate it. Vote on our poll question. We have them for you every day at XB Mornings. And today, the Mitch Lions Wealth poll question: what should the Lions do next after restructuring Goff? We're back with you tomorrow morning.